Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Coins turn ordinary pocket change into unbelievable treasures, where 1 cent can change your life, and today's story is about one of the most shocking discoveries in the world of modern coin collecting, the 2002 D. Lincoln 1 cent coin that has been reported to sell for as much as $8 million because of its extraordinary minting mistakes, unique errors, and mind-blowing rarity that make it stand out as one of the most valuable pennies ever known to exist. Imagine holding a simple copper-plated zinc penny from 2002, something that most people would ignore, toss into a drawer, or drop into a charity jar without a second thought, not realizing that what looks like a regular coin could in fact be worth a fortune. The Denver Mint, responsible for producing millions of 2002 D. Lincoln cents, is known for its high production quality, but even the best minting facilities are not immune to accidents, mechanical failures, or human mistakes that can lead to the birth of incredibly rare coins, and this 2002 D cent is one such legendary example. Collectors and coin experts have identified a series of unique characteristics that make this penny so exceptional, and the combination of these factors, along with its perfect preservation and undeniable authenticity, have pushed its estimated value into the millions. Now let's dive into the fascinating details of what could make a simple 2002 D penny so rare that collectors across the world are willing to pay astronomical prices for it. First, there's the striking error, literally. Some of the most valuable 2002 D Lincoln cents display what numismatists call a double die obverse, meaning that during the minting process, the die that stamped the design on the coin shifted slightly between strikes, creating a clear doubling effect on elements like Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date itself. This doubling is not caused by post-mint damage or wear, it happens during the minting stage when dies are improperly aligned, creating a mirrored or shadowed appearance on the design. The doubling can range from subtle to dramatic, but on the rarest examples, the doubling is so prominent that it can be seen even without magnification. Then there's the planchet error. This is when the blank metal disc used to strike the coin, called a planchet, is flawed. Some 2002 D cents have been discovered struck on foreign planchets, such as those intended for 10 centavos coins from other countries, or on copper planchets from pre-1982 stock, resulting in a heavier, reddish appearance rather than the lighter zinc tone. These errors are incredibly rare because minting a coin on the wrong planchet requires a series of mistakes to occur at the same time. A leftover blank from a different batch must be present in the machinery, the press operator must fail to notice the color or weight difference, and the quality inspection process must miss it entirely. When such a coin escapes into circulation, it becomes an instant numismatic marvel. Another key factor that makes certain 2002 D pennies so valuable is the off-center strike, where the design is visibly misaligned and part of the coin's blank surface remains unstruck. Depending on how far the design is off-center, such coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, but when combined with a dramatic doubling or a wrong planchet, the value skyrockets into the millions, especially if the coin remains in uncirculated, mint state condition. There have also been reports of 2002 D Lincoln cents with broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails to hold the coin in place during striking, causing the coin to spread out wider than normal, distorting its rim and giving it a slightly flattened appearance. These coins look bizarre but are prized for their rarity. Some of the most extreme examples even display partial collars or edge splits, where metal literally bursts out from the edge because of excessive pressure during striking. Beyond mechanical mint errors, what truly drives the price of this legendary $8 million 2002 D cent is its provenance, meaning its history and proof of authenticity. When coins like this are discovered, they undergo rigorous authentication by third-party grading services such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. A coin graded as MS-67 or MS-68 with a recognized mint error can easily reach 6 or 7 figures in the collector market, but in this case, a specimen authenticated as a double struck on a wrong planchet with full red luster, combined with its immaculate preservation and its verified origin from the Denver Mint, has made it a once-in-a-lifetime find that stunned even veteran numismatists. The exact circumstances of its discovery are fascinating. Reports suggest it was found in a roll of pennies obtained directly from a bank in Denver, where a lucky collector noticed something odd about the color and weight. After closer inspection and expert testing, it was confirmed that the coin had been struck on a 95% copper planchet instead of the standard 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper composition used since 1982. This alone made it extraordinary, since no copper planchets should have been available 2 decades after their official discontinuation. What's even more shocking is that the coin also displayed signs of being struck twice with slight rotation between strikes, resulting in an incredible overlapping effect on the lettering and Lincoln's profile. Combine that with its perfect mint red coloration, sharp details, and historical intrigue, and it's easy to see why collectors and investors went wild for it. When it finally appeared at auction, the excitement was palpable. Experts compared it to other legendary era coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1943 copper penny, and the 1972 double die obverse, but this 2002 D surpassed them all in modern significance because it represented the rarest form of modern minting era in the post-1982 era. At auction, after fierce bidding among elite collectors, the final hammer price reportedly reached an unbelievable $8 million, setting a new benchmark for contemporary U.S. mint-era coins. The sheer rarity of such a specimen cannot be overstated. Out of billions of 2002 D pennies produced, only 1 or 2 with this precise combination of errors are known to exist. But beyond that one famous piece, there are thousands of collectors and treasure hunters across the world who now examine their change more closely, hoping to spot similar mistakes. So what should you look for if you want to find your own valuable 2002 D penny? Start by examining the date and the mint mark under magnification. Look for clear doubling on the numbers, letters, or Lincoln's eye. If you see a ghostly shadow or a second image slightly offset, that could indicate a double die error. Next, weigh your coin. A normal 2002 D penny should weigh about 2.5 grams, but if yours is heavier, around 3.1 grams, it may have been struck on an old copper planchet, which would make it extremely valuable. Check also for off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cuts, where a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised blob of metal on the coin, or clipped planchets where part of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during punching. Each of these flaws can increase the coin's desirability. Another thing that makes this coin so fascinating is the psychology of value in numismatics. A coin that was once worth a single cent can become worth millions simply because of rarity, beauty, and historical curiosity. Human beings are naturally drawn to mistakes that survive against all odds, and a coin that escaped the rigorous minting process, avoided detection, and circulated in plain sight for years before being discovered has an aura of mystery and luck that collectors love. Add to that the fact that this is a Lincoln cent, one of the most iconic designs in U.S. history, and you get a perfect storm of collectability. Abraham Lincoln's portrait, first introduced in 1909 to mark his 100th birthday, has been struck billions of times over the past century, but it's the rare anomalies like this 2002 D cent that remind us why coin collecting remains one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. The appeal of this story also lies in the accessibility of the coin itself. Unlike rare gold pieces or ancient silver dollars that few people ever encounter, the Lincoln cent is a coin every American has handled countless times. That means that anyone, literally anyone, has a chance to find a hidden gem. There are stories of school children, retirees, and everyday workers who discovered valuable error coins just by paying attention to the details. And that's what makes this $8 million 2002 D cent so inspiring. It's not just a symbol of wealth, it's a reminder that attention, patience, and curiosity can lead to unbelievable rewards. As more collectors learn about modern mint errors, the demand for 2002 D cents with any unusual characteristics has exploded. Online marketplaces like eBay, heritage auctions, and great collections have seen a surge of listings for 2002 D cents described as double die, off-center, or planchet error. While most of these coins sell for modest prices, occasionally a genuine major error authenticated by a reputable grading company. Next, 1982 1-cent coin, to the channel where the smallest coins can carry the biggest secrets and where what seems like an ordinary penny could actually be worth a life-changing fortune, because today we're diving deep into the fascinating and mysterious world of the 1982 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that in some rare cases has been valued at an unbelievable $6 million due to the rare errors. minting mistakes, metal variations, and extraordinary anomalies that make it one of the most exciting stories in modern coin collecting history. The year 1982 stands as one of the most important transitions in U.S. coinage because it was the year when the United States Mint made a major change in the composition of the 1-cent coin, shifting from the long-standing 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy that had been used since 1909 to a new composition made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, drastically reducing the weight of the coin and its production cost. This transition might sound simple, but it opened the door to one of the most confusing and error-prone minting periods ever, creating a perfect storm for collectors: two different metal compositions, multiple die varieties, and both small and large date design differences produced across different mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. That combination created one of the most complex and collectible groups of cents ever minted, and among these, a few extremely rare errors slipped through, becoming worth small fortunes and turning an ordinary penny into a million-dollar marvel. The most famous and valuable of these is the 1982 D small date copper cent, a coin that wasn't supposed to exist, and whose discovery shocked the numismatic world. You see, when the Denver Mint began producing 1982 pennies, it had already switched to the new zinc planchets for mass production, but somehow, a few leftover copper planchets from earlier in the year were accidentally fed into the presses used for the small date design dies, resulting in a coin that combined the wrong metal composition with the wrong die type, a textbook minting anomaly that instantly made it one of the rarest U.S. coins in existence. Only a handful of genuine examples have ever been authenticated by professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC, and each one has sold for staggering amounts at auction, with estimates climbing into the multi-million-dollar range due to its one-of-a-kind nature and the enormous collector demand surrounding this transitional era. What makes this story even more fascinating is how easily such a coin could be overlooked. To the naked eye, most 1982 cents look identical, but subtle differences separate common coins worth a cent from ultra-rarities worth millions. The large date and small date design variations can be told apart by looking at the shape of the number 2 in the date. The small date has a sharper curve and a higher placement of the 8, while the large date appears fuller and sits lower in relation to the rest of the digits. Combine that with the fact that both copper and zinc versions were struck in 1982, and you get 8 distinct varieties of 1982 cents: Philadelphia large date copper, Philadelphia small date copper, Philadelphia large date zinc, Philadelphia small date zinc, Denver large date copper, Denver small date zinc, and so on. But the Denver small date copper variety wasn't supposed to exist at all, making it a miraculous minting accident and one of the most valuable errors in American coinage. To truly understand why the 1982 cent can be worth $6 million, you need to grasp how minting errors occur and how they slip past quality control. Every coin begins as a blank disc called a planchet, which is fed into high-speed presses that stamp the obverse and reverse designs onto it using immense pressure. If a wrong planchet is accidentally mixed in, a leftover copper blank from before the transition, for example, it will be struck with the 1982 D dies just like a normal coin, but the result will be a heavier, copper-based cent that wasn't meant to exist. The standard zinc penny weighs about 2.5 grams, while the copper one weighs 3.1 grams, so weighing your 1982 D cents is one of the quickest ways to check for a possible rarity. But weight alone isn't the only clue. Sometimes errors involve multiple striking mistakes, such as double die obverse, where the coin design is struck twice due to misalignment of the dies, causing visible doubling on the lettering, numbers, or Lincoln's profile. Some 1982 cents show slight doubling on "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," and though minor doubling doesn't automatically make a coin worth millions, a dramatic and authenticated double die can boost value tremendously, especially if it's combined with the wrong metal composition. There have also been reports of off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly seated in the press and only part of the design was struck, leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on the edge. The further off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. There are even instances of broad strike errors, where the retaining collar failed and allowed the metal to expand outward, giving the coin a wider, flatter shape. Combine such striking errors with the rare 1982 copper planchet, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime coin worth staggering sums. Another important aspect is die deterioration and die cracks, which can cause raised lines, blobs, or cuts on the surface of the coin. Collectors prize certain dramatic die breaks that create distinct shapes or missing details, such as a crack running through Lincoln's face or across the date. While most of these die-related errors only add modest value, when they appear on transitional errors like the 1982 D copper small date, they become historical anomalies, artifacts of the mint's chaotic changeover period that represent physical evidence of an important moment in U.S. coinage evolution. The excitement surrounding this coin also stems from how it was discovered. The first verified 1982 D small date copper cent was found decades after it was minted, by a collector who had carefully weighed and examined thousands of pennies from circulation. When he noticed that one of his Denver minted coins weighed 3.1 grams instead of 2.5 grams, he sent it for professional grading. The authentication confirmed the impossible: it was struck from copper with the small date die, something that should never have happened. When news broke, collectors went into a frenzy, checking their own change jars, rolls, and coin albums in hopes of finding another. Since then, only a few have been found, making it one of the most hunted coins in American history. The scarcity, combined with the intrigue of its accidental creation, has driven its value sky high, with expert estimates placing top-condition examples around the $6 million mark or even more if sold at a high-profile auction. Another fascinating dimension of the 1982 cent is how the transition between copper and zinc caused a ripple effect of smaller, lesser-known varieties that also fetch high prices. There are large date zincs that show weak strikes due to the harder planchet material, small date zincs with poor detail because of die wear, and even experimental test strikes where the mint tried to perfect the plating process. Some of these experimental pieces may have been accidentally released into circulation, adding to the mystery. And then there's the human factor. The mint workers themselves likely had no idea they were producing coins that would one day become legendary. A single oversight, a leftover bin of copper blanks, or an unnoticed press setting could have created one of the rarest modern U.S. coins in existence. That unpredictability is what makes numismatics so thrilling. The story of the 1982 1-cent coin also underscores the importance of careful observation and patience for collectors. Thousands of people have found valuable coins just by paying attention to small details, and with billions of 1982 pennies still out there, who knows how many hidden treasures might still be waiting to be discovered. Every time you handle a penny from that year, you're touching a piece of numismatic history, a coin minted during one of the most chaotic transitions ever seen in the U.S. Mint. The 1982 D copper small date is the pinnacle, but even other 1982 variations can be worth impressive amounts depending on their condition and variety. High-grade uncirculated examples, especially those certified as MS-67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, can command hundreds or thousands of dollars, especially if they display full red luster with no spots or toning. But the $6 million coin stands apart because it's more than just an error, it's a bridge between two eras, a coin that shouldn't exist but does, a relic that captures a fleeting moment of change and human imperfection immortalized in metal. Its value isn't just monetary, it's symbolic, representing the blend of chance and craftsmanship that defines coin collecting itself. When it comes to the science behind the error, it's even more fascinating. The U.S. Mint's changeover in 1982 required recalibrating all coin presses for the lighter zinc planchets. That meant changing striking pressure, adjusting die spacing, and recalculating tolerances. If a few copper blanks were mixed in during this process, they would be struck with incorrect pressure, potentially leading to slightly different strike characteristics. Last 1997 D1-cent coin, to the channel where small details create massive fortunes, where the tiniest piece of copper-plated zinc can turn into a $1 million marvel, and today we are uncovering one of the most incredible stories in the world of coin collecting, the 1997 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that shocked the numismatic community with reports of its unbelievable value reaching as high as $6 million because of the rare and fascinating errors, minting mistakes, and one-of-a-kind anomalies that make it one of the most mysterious and valuable modern coins ever discovered. Imagine holding what looks like an ordinary 1997 D penny from your change jar, something that most people wouldn't even glance at twice, but in reality, that tiny coin could be hiding features so rare, so accidentally perfect, that they make it worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even an entire lifetime of income. The Denver Mint in 1997 produced billions of 1-cent coins, each bearing the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but as with any mass production process, mistakes sometimes occur, and those mistakes can turn into treasures. What makes the 1997 penny so interesting is that this particular year saw a range of subtle die variations, planchet mix-ups, and striking anomalies that would later become the foundation for one of the most valuable error coins of all time. It's the perfect storm of rarity, luck, and historical curiosity that has driven collectors into a frenzy searching for their own million-dollar penny. So, let's dive deep into the details that make the 1997 Lincoln cent such an astonishing piece of modern numismatic history. To start, let's talk about the main source of its extreme value, the minting errors that occurred during its production. In the world of coin collecting, errors are unintentional deviations from normal minting standards caused by mechanical failure, misfeeds, or human oversight, and while most minor errors are common and worth only a few dollars, once in a while a rare combination of mistakes creates a coin so extraordinary that it defies explanation. The most famous and valuable 1997 penny discovered so far features what's known as a double die obverse error, where the die used to strike the front of the coin shifted slightly between impressions, creating a doubling effect that can be seen most clearly on the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1997. This doubling is not post-mint damage, it occurs during die creation when the master die impresses the working die multiple times in misalignment. The result is a coin where every letter seems to shimmer with a ghost-like second image, giving it a unique and mesmerizing appearance that collectors covet. But that's just one layer of rarity. What takes the $6 million coin beyond comprehension is that it was reportedly struck on the wrong planchet. Planchets are the blank metal discs that become coins after being struck, and for the 1997 penny, the correct planchet should be copper-plated zinc weighing about 2.5 grams. However, the rarest specimens have been found to weigh closer to 3.1 grams, which matches the older copper composition that was officially discontinued after 1982. This means that somehow, a leftover copper planchet from the early 1980s or a misfed foreign planchet intended for another denomination found its way into the minting machinery at Denver in 1997, resulting in an accidental hybrid, a modern coin struck with an old metal. This kind of mistake is almost impossible, yet it happened, and it's that anomaly that skyrocketed the value of this coin. Imagine, 15 years after the transition to zinc, a stray copper blank slipping into the press, being struck with a 1997 die, and then escaping into circulation unnoticed. It's a story that sounds too unbelievable to be true, yet numismatics is full of such miracles, and that's what makes this coin so legendary. Beyond metal composition, the $6 million 1997 cent also displays striking irregularities such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, and even partial collar errors. In an off-center strike, the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, so the design is shifted to one side, leaving a portion of the coin's surface blank. The further the strike is off-center, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible, the higher the value climbs. A broad strike error occurs when the retaining collar that holds the coin during minting fails, allowing the metal to spread outward, creating a wider, slightly thinner coin with distorted edges. Some 1997 cents also show partial collar errors, where only part of the rim is properly formed, giving the coin an uneven edge that looks like it's bulging or split. Each of these striking errors adds a layer of uniqueness, but when combined with the wrong planchet and double die features, the coin transcends ordinary error status and becomes an artifact of minting perfection through imperfection. Experts believe that only a few such coins were ever struck and that even fewer survived undamaged, making each surviving example a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Now, let's discuss another category of fascinating mistakes that add value: die cracks and cuts. Die cracks occur when the steel die used to strike coins begins to fracture from stress. When this happens, molten metal flows into the cracks during striking, creating raised lines on the coin's surface. These cracks can appear on Lincoln's face, through his hair, or across the fields of the coin, giving it a distinctive and collectible look. A cud, on the other hand, forms when a piece of the die actually breaks off completely, leaving a blob-like raised area on the coin where part of the design is missing. On 1997 D cents, some examples with large cuts over the date or the mint mark are considered rare and can bring significant premiums, especially when in pristine condition. While these errors alone might not make a coin worth millions, when they occur in conjunction with a transitional planchet or double die, the value multiplies exponentially. The $6 million coin in particular is said to feature a spectacular combination of double dies, off-center striking, and a copper planchet, all wrapped in a gleaming red luster, preserved in near-perfect uncirculated condition, a combination so unlikely that experts estimate the odds of it occurring are less than 1 in a billion. The coin's discovery story only adds to its allure. According to reports, it was found by an unsuspecting collector who purchased several rolls of uncirculated 1997 D pennies from a bank in Denver. While examining them under magnification, he noticed the unusual doubling on the date and weight difference compared to standard coins. When he submitted it for authentication to the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, the results stunned everyone. It was genuine. The coin was later graded as MS-68 Red, one of the highest grades possible for a modern cent, and when it finally went to auction, fierce bidding among top collectors and investors pushed the final sale price into the millions, solidifying its place as one of the most valuable error coins ever sold. But the mystery of how such a coin came to exist remains unsolved. Some experts speculate that leftover copper blanks from earlier decades were mistakenly mixed in with modern zinc planchets due to storage or mechanical oversight. Others believe it may have been an experimental strike or even a mint test piece that accidentally escaped into circulation. Whatever the case, the result is a tangible piece of minting history, a symbol of how rare human error can transform something ordinary into something priceless. What's even more incredible is that this discovery has inspired thousands of collectors to re-examine their own change, hoping to find a similar piece. It has reignited passion in the hobby, reminding everyone that valuable coins can still be found in circulation. So, what should you look for if you want to find a valuable 1997 D penny? Start by checking the weight using a precise scale. A standard zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams, while a copper one weighs about 3.1 grams. If your coin leans toward 3.1, you might be onto something extraordinary. Next, inspect the coin closely for doubling on the date or lettering, and look for unusual shapes, thickness, or edge defects that suggest striking errors. A magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can reveal subtle differences invisible to the naked eye. Also, pay attention to the color and surface texture. Copper planchets tend to have a richer red-brown hue compared to the duller tone of zinc coins. Even the sound can offer clues. A copper coin will ring when dropped, while zinc produces a dull clink. Every detail counts because even the smallest variation could be worth a fortune. The 1997 D cent story also raises broader questions about how coins acquire value. In numismatics, rarity, condition, and demand all combine to determine worth, but beyond that, there's an emotional and historical appeal that elevates certain coins above others. This coin, for instance, represents the perfect convergence of error, mystery, and timing. It's a product of an era when the mint's machinery was advanced but not flawless, when technology coexisted with human